you look at it, you can always get more and more insights from them. The story of the wishing game goes like this. There was a group of, I think, 5 children. They were playing the wishing game. It goes like this. If you had one wish, what would you want? If I could grant you that wish, let's make it real. If I could grant you one wish, what would you ask for? In this game, the first child said, if I had a wish, I would wish for an ice cream. He was only a small child. He liked ice creams and it was a hot day. The second child, having heard that one wish, said, if I had a wish, I would wish for an ice cream factory. Because having an ice cream factory, if you own an ice cream factory, you can have an ice cream whenever you want it. Now, as soon as the second child said that, the first child thought, what an idiot I was, and how clever was that second child. Oh, if only I could have that wish over again. But in life, you can't have a wish over again. The third child did even better than the second child. The third child said, if I had a wish, I'd wish for $1 billion. Because with $1 billion, you can buy an ice cream factory. You can also buy a candy factory. You can also buy a fish and chip shop. You can buy so many things. And so you can have ice cream whenever you want, candy whenever you want. You can buy a pizza chain, have a pizza whenever you want. He said, and the second child thought, how stupid I was. If only I could have my choice again, I would wish for $1 billion. Now, to interrupt here, those who haven't heard this story before, what would you wish for if you had one wish? If you had one wish, what would you wish for? The fourth child was smarter than wanting $1 billion. He said, if I had one wish, I would wish for 3 wishes. And with my first wish, I'd wish for an ice cream factory. With my second wish, I'll have $1 billion, thank you. And for my third wish, I'll ask for 3 wishes. So whatever I think about later on I can have that for my, keep on going. And the other 3 children thought that was perfection. How can you do better than that if you had one wish to ask for 3 wishes? Because you can keep on wishing, get whatever you want again and again and again and again. Now those of you who haven't heard what the 5th child said, because the 5th child beat all the other 4 children. They had one wish which was more profound, gave them more happiness than that 4th child, who had an infinite number of wishes. In our world, we always want to be that 4th child. We want to be billionaires. So whenever we have a wish, we can always get that wish. We want to be able to go wherever we want, to experience whatever we want, to actually, so that we have so much money, so much power, that whenever we have a wish, we can get it straight away. We always like to aspire to the 4th child. That is the world. The 5th child said, if I had one wish, I wish that I didn't ever need any more wishes. I wish for the end of wishing. Because when you have the wish for no more wishes, that's called contentment. That's much better than always wanting a wish. Whenever you want a wish, it means you're not happy where you are. You're not content. You're not free. You're not happy where you are. You are still in a prison. When you have no wishes, you're happy where you are, you're content. That is what we call freedom. That last child was the Buddha. No more wishes. Imagine what it would be like to have no wishes. Absolutely content. What that really means is the real meaning of freedom. Freedom from desire, not freedom of desire. When you have desire, wanting, That is why we never feel free. Look at it in your daily life. You want to get to work on time. You don't feel free. Now you want to get on in the world and become wealthy. That means that from Monday to Friday and probably during the week, you're not free. Now you want to have health in the body, and you're not healthy. Therefore you don't feel free. You feel there's a tyrant there. Even you've got pain in your legs. You don't want pain in your legs. That's why you're always being pushed and pulled. You never feel free. You're not content with your partner, so you never feel free. You always have to try and find another one. Or even with your mind. You're not content with your meditation. You want it to be different. You want your mind to stop thinking. You don't want it to be this way. You don't want it to be that way. You're always trying to control the world. That is why you don't feel free. You don't have to change the world to be free. You don't even have to change yourself to be free. All you need to do is to let go of all changing and all wishing. Then you feel freedom. Which is why it was a strange experience when I first became a monk. Being a monk, I had all these rules I had to keep. They say that there's 227 rules for a monk, but that's only the start of it. Then you get more as you go along, as you read deeper and deeper into the teachings of the Buddha, and especially the rules for monks. And sometimes you think, all these rules, in our day and age when we talk about freedom and just not being hung up on things and liberating your mind, how can you feel free with all those rules? Aren't you always worried about doing something wrong? The answer is actually no. The more rules you keep, the freer you feel. Strange, but that's the truth of it. If you have no rules in your life, no self-discipline, anything goes, try it for one day. You feel just so uncomfortable, so lack of freedom. One of the lovely things when people come to visit the monastery and stay for a time, they've got all these rules they have to keep, and they keep them because they feel just so free. They feel so much space. The reason is because they're free from so many problems. It's why that we call just basic morality freeing yourself from so many difficulties. One of the other stories about precepts is a story of the fish in the aquarium. It's another powerful story which shows you why it's good to keep moral precepts in our life. The story goes like this. There were two monks. Actually, one of those monks visited here very recently. There were two monks visiting a house where they were waiting for their morning meal, sitting in the lounge room. They saw a fish tank. And one of the monks said straight away, "That is not compassionate. That is not Buddhist to put fish in a tank." Do any of you have fish in an aquarium in your house? What have the fish done to be put in a prison like that? It's like a prison. They can't swim here, they can't swim there, can they? And so you've got these fish confined in a little tank in your house for your pleasure. So surely that's, you should liberate them. Go and take them out to a river or a lake. That's what one monk thought. That was un-Buddhist. That was cruel to put fish in an aquarium, in a house. The other monk was much wiser, said, "No, you're wrong. You don't understand. Because fish in a tank have a lot of freedom. First of all, they're free from fishermen. Have you ever seen someone dangling a line and a hook in a fish tank in a house? They're free of the danger of fishermen. Number two, they're free of bigger fish, the fear of bigger fish. Because no owner in their right mind will put sort of a big fish and a little fish who eat one another in the same tank. In the rivers and the lakes, the fish have got to be very afraid. If they see a big fish, they've got to run as fast as they can, because big fish eat small fish. Also, if a fish in the rivers and lakes see a little worm in there, That's their food. It might be a fly. That's what they eat. They don't know. They can't be sure whether that worm has got a hook in it or that worm hasn't. They've seen many of their friends eat a nice juicy worm and suddenly be jerked out of their lake, never to be seen again. And imagine what it'd be like that. If you had dinner, you never knew when you have your dinner where there's a hook in there, would that be your end and your death? You get psychotic. I reckon that many of the fish in the lakes and the rivers are psychotic because they never can be sure that what they're going to eat is going to be their end, their death, or whether they can have a nice meal. You can never really enjoy your food, can you, as a fish? But the fish in an aquarium, they fear the danger of bigger fish, they fear the danger of fishermen, and also whatever food they eat there, they know it's safe. Not only it's safe, they don't even need to search for it. It's like takeaway or like home delivery pizza. Delivered twice or 3 times a day. They don't have to work at all. It's there for them whenever they want. So they're free of hunger. Not only are they free of hunger, but if ever those fish get sick in the aquarium, the owner gets a fish doctor to come and heal them. They've got free medical care. Even in our community, we have a certain amount of free medical care, but we've got like excess we have to pay if we go in hospitals. Fish don't have that excess. It's absolutely free. The best medical care you can possibly get. Also, they've got air conditioning. An aquarium has got this thermostat heater on it, so it's just the right temperature. I don't know about you coming into this hall today. It was very cold outside. This afternoon I did a funeral and it was blowing and raining on the way to the crematorium in Fremantle. It was really cold. Fish have got a much better life than that in an aquarium. They never feel heat or cold or too hot or too cold. It's exactly the right temperature. So if you look at it that way, fish in an aquarium are free from so much suffering, so many problems. Now do you understand what freedom means? Sure, they can't go and swim to all these different places. They're free of so many problems. That's why in Buddhism and other religions, we look upon like keeping moral precepts not as confining you, not as putting you in a cage, but actually liberating you, freeing you. You feel much more free keeping rules because you are free of so many dangers, of so many problems and so many difficulties. That's why the more precepts you keep, the more freedom you feel. Ask someone who's been coming to our Buddha center for a long time and who keeps the 5 precepts of not killing, not stealing, not committing adultery, not lying, not taking alcohol. So that must be terrible not to. You can't have freedom to have a nice beer or a nice bit of wine in the afternoon. You feel more freedom by giving up those things. Number 1, you're free from fear of the booze bus when you go home. You're free of fear of liver problems. You're free of fear of not having enough money because all that costs a lot of money. If you tell lies, then you're always worried about being caught out. If you don't tell lies, you always tell the truth. You're free from the fear of getting caught. And all the problems which come from bad speech. You find you're free of so many things if you keep precepts. That's why keeping precepts gives you such a sense of freedom. If you start practicing compassion for other people, going out helping and serving others, then sometimes you think, why are you spending so much time at the hospice, old people's home, or monastery or church doing this and helping out that? You haven't got any time for yourself. People think freedom is having free time. Do you have free time? What does it mean, free time? It means time when you feel free. Not time when you can do whatever you want, because what happens if you've got, say, an afternoon, you've got nothing to do? A lot of times people get bored out their skull. Turn on the television, there's nothing on today. Look at the CDs, no, listen to all that, that's really boring. go into the refrigerator, which is packed solid with stuff, and there's nothing in the refrigerator. Go and ring up a few friends, and they're all out. How many people get bored on a day off? You don't feel free, do you? Even though it's supposed to be free time, it's not free time because you don't feel free. A lot of the time, if people are serving others out of compassion, they feel free because they're free from worrying about themselves. This whole idea of yourself, you, and who am I, what am I supposed to be doing, that's all taken away when you're acting out of compassion because your focus is on somebody else. There's a sense of freedom there. Freedom from your own desires because you're concerned about another person. That's a lot of times why, when a person really has love for another person, and they experience that feeling of love, there's always a sense of freedom there, an uplift of the mind and the heart, because they're not so worried about themselves. They're wholly concerned with the other person. A mother looking after a baby, how much time does she spend with that child? Waking up in the middle of the night 2 or 3 times, all day having to be concerned about their baby. There's a sense of freedom there.